Good morning, everyone. It's morning here today in Swansea. My name is Bill Hewlett. Background, I was at university in the early 1980s. I'd done some practical work before that, so I had a good practical turn to my thinking. University was obviously quite theoretical in its approaches, what I was taught and what I learned. I then went back into contracting, civil engineering contracting, working mostly in the marine, maritime, highways and rail markets. For my career, I did some building work for a period of time where I ran a design office, and then I went back into the company I'd started with, which was Costain, a big UK-based company. I was the technical director there for a number of years, which gave me the opportunity to develop the engineering in that company and also to found the Temporary Works Forum with partner John Carpenter. And that's been a great success, I'm very pleased to say. I was involved for the first few years, then handed on to other people who've done a great job following what I did and John and I did. I retired from Costain 4 years ago, so I'm no longer in mainstream employment. I work as a consultant. I have the opportunity to reflect on things. I think that's perhaps how I bring value to the economy, if you like. I can take perhaps more nebulous problems away and think those through, but also from my experience of the world of engineering and the bodies like the Institution of Civil Engineers, where I was a vice president for a while, I can bring that back to the market and hopefully move things forward. Be self-confident, know who you are, have that sense of mission. Don't need to go into early employment thinking, I'm going to retire at such and such an age and have that sort of end of life plan. That's sort of madness, really. But be thinking about what are some strategic things that you're actually quite keen to do. What do you want to see in the world? What's going to fire you up? What's going to really inspire you? And they often say, work out what you want to do, then find someone to pay you to do it. If you can achieve that, that's great. But the first step in that is knowing what you want to do, and I think that's a really important first action. I think it's the stories, actually. If you can get your interviewer on the same level with you as a human being, as a person, and then you can have a rapport, get away from the questions and the answers, get into a discussion, have clearly the confidence to do that, but also just the interest in life to do that. People who are older are always very interested in what younger people are up to because that's the future of the world, and one accepts that. So what is that future going to hold? How do you find people that you wish to encourage and develop to be the leaders in that future time? And I think if you can get that discussion going, perhaps, certainly know the colour of the eyes of the interviewer always, never leave an interview without knowing that. But that just speaks to how you engage with the individual as person to person. I would also emphasise the importance of being, having some rounded experience of engineering. If you can get out during vacations, get some employment, some experience that way, that's enormously helpful. It gives you can have confidence then that what you're walking into in terms of a job is something what you're walking into. So you're choosing to do it for a good reason, not just because maybe someone suggested it's a good idea or you think it's a good idea. That would be my advice. A lot's talked about finance, economy, social justice and so on, and these things are hugely important. The world will not go round if we don't get those things right, at least on a human scale it won't. But if you're an engineer, there's a heart to that, a core to that, which is a technical core to that. The building we're sitting in, you've got a laboratory behind me, big crane beams and so on, things going under test, a lot of load being used. Those facilities only work because they're designed correctly at a basic level. And within engineering, certainly civil structural engineering, there is that heart at the centre of it, of simply getting the hard engineering right, however you want to describe it. And then it's from that those other things build out or have a foundation. So I think this course is only one amongst many courses in a degree, obviously, or a series of qualifications that you will get, but it's very important because it draws attention and gives you that capability in the homeland, the heartland of engineering practice. I think it's that engagement with people who are active in the career, and looking at the list of people giving the lectures and the workshops, that is a group of practitioners who are absolutely out there doing business on a day-to-day. They're not people who make a business of education, they make a business of building engineering works. You can experience and gain insight and narrative from them. I think it's hugely valuable and great opportunity. The other thing, of course, is many of them run businesses, and if you want to think about, well, want a job, want to graduate, have a chat, why not? The MSc has been designed to give a wide spread across all those subjects. There are lectures in all the ones that you mentioned, that the ability to manage the core engineering process is likely to be something of an unusual skill. So if I can textualize that in this sequence of generational forgetfulness, are we at risk as an industry of forgetting the very basic point in structural engineering, that things have to stand up? And if they don't, you're in a far worse, you can forget sustainability and all sorts of things. Apart from anything else, you've got an enormous waste of material that you need to clear up. And I think it's that, giving that central point that people, individuals, engineers in society can grow out from, confident that they've got that firmly grasped. I think that's a very, very useful, important part. Will give a good foundation then for all the other types of activity that you're talking about, which are absolutely important. As I said at the beginning, you can't have a world in which you don't have things like, one planet living, where's planet B? You've got to have social justice, otherwise why have a society? Those are things that need to be dealt with, but so does engineers entrusted with doing the engineering right, and it all boils down to the basics, and I think that's where this degree course contributes very strongly, as well as extending to the other areas. Well, wish you all good luck. You've got choices to make. Perhaps as one piece of advice I would give, talk to other people about them. Talk to the people around you, whether they're people that know you sometimes very well is useful. Actually, sometimes people know you a bit, but see the context of the world that you're in very clearly. Talk to them as well, and they will help you make those important choices in life.